Gold, in our world, it is a symbol of wealth, of power, of enduring beauty. But in the grim, fatalistic world of myth, gold is something else entirely. It is a disease, a sickness of the soul that glitters and poisons. A cold fire that promises everything and takes it all away, leaving only ash and regret. This curse of avarice is a tale as old as time. From the cursed necklace of Harmonia that doomed a dynasty in Greece, to the tragic golden touch of King Midas. But there is no greater, more horrifying case study of this affliction than the legend of Fafnir. The story we think we know is of a hero, a legendary sword, and a greedy dragon guarding its hoard. But that is merely the final chapter, the bloody end of a much longer and more tragic tale. This is not the story of a monster. This is the autopsy of a soul. It is a psychological investigation into how a dwarf prince, a son of a king, became so utterly consumed by a cursed treasure that it twisted his very flesh and bone, transforming him from a person into a monstrous, venom-breathing dragon. Today, we investigate the terrifying alchemy of greed, a force that can turn a heart of flesh into a heart of stone, and a prince into the most infamous dragon in all of Norse mythology. Our story begins not with a dragon, but with a dwarf prince named Fafnir, son of King Hreidmar, living a life of wealth and privilege. This peace was shattered by the carelessness of the gods. One day, Odin, Fafnir, and Loki were traveling and, seeing an otter by a waterfall, Loki killed it with a stone for its fine pelt. But this was no ordinary animal. It was Fafnir's own brother, Atr, a shapeshifter. When the gods sought lodging at Hreidmar's hall, the king saw the pelt and recognized his murdered son. Enraged, he and his remaining sons, Fafnir and Regin, captured the gods and demanded a blood debt. Enough gold to cover Odin's skin inside and out. To get this treasure, Loki journeyed to the realm of the dwarf Andvari, and, with threats, seized his entire hoard. Andvari's last and most precious item was a golden ring and Varanot, which could create more gold. Loki stole this, too. As Loki left, Andvari laid a terrible curse upon the gold, and especially the ring. It would bring death, strife, and ruin to any who possessed it until it was returned to the river. Loki, indifferent to the dwarf's suffering, used this very cursed gold to pay the ransom, sealing the fate of Hreidmar's family. The curse worked faster than anyone could have imagined. Once the gods had departed, King Hreidmar stood before a mountain of glittering, cursed gold. He had avenged his son, but he had no intention of sharing the treasure with his remaining two. The poison of the ring and Varanot had already begun its work, seeping into the hearts of the family. Fafnir and his brother Regin, who had once grieved for their brother, now looked at their father with eyes clouded by a new, burning desire. They saw not a king, but an obstacle between them and the horde. That night, they committed the next horrific crime in this chain of tragedy: patricide. They murdered their own father in his sleep to claim the treasure for themselves. But the curse demanded yet more division. Fafnir, being the stronger and more ruthless of the two, now turned on his co-conspirator. He refused to share a single coin with Regin, threatening to kill him as they had killed their father. Terrified, Regin was forced to flee into exile, leaving Fafnir alone at last with his blood-soaked, cursed treasure. Alone at last with his treasure, Fafnir carried the entire horde to a remote cave on a desolate wasteland known as Nita Heath, a place that would become his tomb and his throne. For years, he lay upon the gold, speaking to no one, trusting no one. His paranoia grew. He would count his coins endlessly. He would polish the cursed ring in Veronat, whispering to it. The curse and his own suffocating greed began to physically twist his form. His spirit grew as cold and hard as the gold he slept on. His skin thickened and hardened into impenetrable scales. His limbs twisted and grew into powerful claws. His face elongated into a monstrous snout, and his heart, now nothing more than a knot of pure avarice, began to pump poison through his veins. He learned to breathe this venom, a toxic cloud that withered the land around him, creating a perimeter of death to protect his horde. The dwarf prince was gone, erased and consumed. In his place was Fafnir, the dragon, no longer a person, but a living embodiment of the curse of greed. The story ends as it began, with betrayal. The exiled brother, Regin, his heart still burning with a lust for the gold, found a young, powerful hero named Sigurd. Regin forged the legendary sword, Gram, for the boy and manipulated him into facing the terrifying dragon. Sigurd, a hero seeking glory, became the final instrument of the curse. He dug a pit on Fafnir's path, and as the great beast crawled over, he thrust the sword upwards into its soft underbelly, killing him. As he lay dying, Fafnir, with his last breath, warned Sigurd that the gold was cursed and would be his doom as well. And it was. The curse of Anvarana was not broken with Fafnir's death. It had simply found a new host. The story of Fafnir is not about a hero slaying a monster. It is a grim detective story where the trail of bodies leads back to a single culprit. The true villain was never a god or a dragon, but the abstract, all-consuming sickness of greed itself. Fafnir was not born a monster. He was a victim who became a perpetrator. A tragic soul consumed by the very curse the gods had so carelessly unleashed upon the world.